I thought I'd make this video just to share with people how I actually get myself to go into this ice bath pretty much every day. I got to know in the top of my head my purpose for going in, because it's not an easy thing to do. Mentally, physically, takes a lot of willpower, and for me it is that this ice bath is the lesser evil. Going in this ice cold water for me is going to get me out of a state that is so horrible physically, where I have hypersensitive nerves, chronically painful muscles that are very hard to tolerate. But you know, this doesn't only work for chronic pain. Mentally, sometimes my purpose is more mentally. I'll be in like a mental rut where I just feel like I've got no willpower, I've given up mentally, and I'm just feel like a freaking vegetable in my head. Like I'm in pain all the time. I've lost my motivation, got no morale, and I just want to prove to myself that I can get myself off the flipping couch, out of my bed, and get myself to do something that takes willpower. And just to break that is so empowering when you can't use your normal conventional methods that a lot of people would, such as going for a run, do an exercise, just distracting yourself with certain hobbies. Because when you're restricted by movement for chronic pain, and those things exacerbate your pain, then really it's, you know, you feel like you're at a dead end with even helping yourself from a mental point of view. So yeah, so the first thing I do is I get myself really in line with why I'm going in, and I connect with the fact that this is by far the lesser evil. The second thing is, once I start getting in, I don't stop, and I just do real gradual movement in. Somehow that works for me. The other thing is breathing, massive. I just sort of breathe in and out slowly. Focusing on something. I've got lots of trees, berries. I don't know, I just pick a point and I look at it and I do my breathing, and I don't entertain the fact that it's an option to get out. Yeah, so I just, like I said, I kind of have to go in on a constant progression and not really stop. It's so darn cold. So once I'm in, I usually stay about 5 minutes. The other thing is that I try to relax my muscles once I'm in. It's very easy to be like, to tense up, but yeah, I just try to make a conscious effort to kind of let go. And how this helps people with chronic pain as well is that when you're in chronic persistent pain, your body's kind of in this fight or flight mode, and it has learned to perceive slight stimuli as a threat, and to guard and to tense and to just kind of send more pain signals. And so by putting yourself in this state where you're feeling like, gosh, this is like almost painful, but your mindset is combating that idea by willingly putting yourself in there, by doing it in a manner in which you're breathing, controlling your breathing, and you're actually calming yourself, and you know that it's not a threat. That in itself, according to pain science, can help rewire the brain and yeah, help you to actually to send off that pain response less easily. So again, that's another reason why I do these ice baths. Another thing is that this is literally just a theory in my own head, and I haven't looked into it much, but it just makes logical sense that if I go into this ice bath daily and I gradually lower the temperature, that my hope is that my body will become less sensitized, because by doing the gradual reduction in temperature over a period of a couple of weeks to a month, where I bring it down from say 16 degrees to 6 degrees, you don't really notice the difference if you do it really gradually. Whereas if you'd go in 6 degrees from the beginning, your body would freak out. Like, you'd be feeling like you're being literally stabbed by tiny little knives everywhere. Which is kind of interesting, because when I went in the first time it was 16 degrees and my feet were so cold that they were going into a spasm, and I literally was like, I want to get in and I'm not like trying to get out of it, but I'm scared my feet are going to just like lock up and spasm while I'm in there. And everyone hates a foot spasm. I'm sure most of us have experienced that, and it's pretty unbearable. I guess my other tip or advice is that to start at a temperature around say 16 degrees, stay in for 5 minutes and do it every day, and slowly, gradually lower the temperature. Don't try to prove something to yourself by going in at an extremely low temperature the first time around, because you're just going to cause your brain to see that as a total traumatic experience, and your brain is going to tell you, I'm never going in there again, and you're going to procrastinate and you're never going to do it. So don't set yourself up for failure. Position yourself for success. I mean, honestly, the whole time I've been in here, I haven't even thought about the cold water. It's 10 degrees at the moment. I was in the hospital a little bit and I didn't go in for a couple of weeks, and so I've kind of just started again now, but I didn't want to start right at the beginning. 10 degrees is pretty reasonable for me, but it is pretty crazy how much harder like 7 degrees would be. You think it's just a few degrees, but it is ridiculously harder. And I really like that concept about just positioning yourself for the best chance of success. Accountability, huge. I get my husband to do this with me every day. Some people will not be able to get their partner to do it with them, or you may not have someone who will do it with you. But if you do, it's huge, because there are some days where it's the absolute last thing that I'm going to be able to get myself to do, but he'll do it, and so then I'll do it, because it's that we're in this together and I'm letting him down too. And it's amazing how that is so powerful when you want to challenge yourself to do something that is difficult. So again, positioning yourself for success. One final tip is that when I've been doing it in the mornings, and it's winter here in Australia, and I was finding it really hard to get out of bed to do it, and so I just thought about, how am I going to overcome this? So I got a sauna, portable sauna with $1,000 infrared. Now my husband will switch it on for me in the morning, because he'll usually hop up before me, and it'll be really hot in there, and then when it's heated enough, he'll let me know, and I will literally grab my bathers, and I won't put them on in my room because like it's freezing and I don't want to get out of bed still. So I grab them, I walk to the sauna in my pajamas, I sit in there and I wait until I'm like hot and I want to take like my clothing and pajamas off, and I put my bathers in there, and then by the time I get out of there 20 minutes later, I am boiling hot, and then I just kind of cool for about 5 minutes. You know, outside it's cold outside, but I'm feeling pretty warm, and then I'll get into my ice bath. So the transition is like, just make it really hard for myself to come up with excuses not to do it. So yeah, those are my tips for how to get in an ice bath. For those, again, just real quick, who don't know my story, 3 years ago I got a sudden onset of extreme pain in the left side of my head. Stabbing, aching, squeezing, persistent for every minute of the day for months and months and months, going on to 3 years, and stabbing in my eye. I had surgery in my head to decompress the nerves, which helped a lot, but I was given no access to treatment when it started. I didn't see a neurologist for 5 months after that onset, and it was traumatic, distressing, and excruciating, and my nervous system just didn't cope well. Later I got the nerves in my head decompressed. It helped a lot, but there was so much progression of my pain into my neck, my trapeze, both my eyes, and by then I had so much facial pain. Like, it was just a pain cascade, a vicious cycle that I stopped moving, literally. Like, I couldn't even barely move my neck for a year and a half, and I lost muscle in areas like that. Once you've lost it, you can't just work to get it back, because you're in this pain cycle. That slight movement is so extremely painful, and now you're supposed to not just move but try to build muscle. Like, you end up having if you try to exercise or do physio or try to get yourself out of that cycle, like, the repercussion of just a slight muscle building exercise can just set you off and cause you like a major flare. So it's a pretty cruel cycle, a pretty cruel situation to be in. I truly believe that a lot of what I've gone through was avoidable, preventable, and that's why I'm fighting so hard for change in the medical system. I went through suffering that no one should have to go through. Trauma, flipping torture, nothing short of torture. Mental distress, I was barely present mentally for that whole time with my children, and I still struggle so much now from it, and it breaks my heart that I've been handed this hand of cards